What's up, everybody? We are your hosts. I'm Keedren.
And I'm Katura.
And we are the Bostons.
That's right. You're talking with the Bostons tonight.
That's right. Welcome to Talking with the Bostons. We hope you have had a great day today. Today has been good for us. How was your day been? I know it's been a lot going on in our world right now. You know, of course, it's this Sunday.
Yes.
So Sundays are always full for us. A lot of pouring.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of connecting, a lot of building.
Yeah.
Great days. I absolutely love Sundays.
Yeah.
But let me ask you today, how are you feeling? Like how was your day been?
Well, my day was actually really good.
Yeah.
Most of you who know us know I'm a children's ministry director and Keedren's a student ministry director. So we spend our Sundays serving kids, the greatest in the kingdom, right? Sure. And their families. So we did that today. And I'm not just saying it was a good day. It was really a good day. Yeah. I don't think we ever I don't ever really have like a bad day in kids ministry, but I have days that feel longer than others.
Yeah.
Or I've had to probably tend to more things or different things than usual.
Yeah.
You know, no two Sundays are the same, but all in all, I feel pretty good. I'm still a little nasally. We found out this week, well, Keaton didn't find out, but I did, and I relayed this information to him. It's medical information about me. I'm allergic to dust. Yeah. So shaking out the rugs and the mats in the house and trying to vacuum the ceiling fans and all that. Won't be doing that anymore because it turns out it sticks right up here in those sinuses, in those cavities. Yeah, but he's been real patient with me as I've tossed and turned over the last 3 nights, but I appreciate him. How was your day today?
Today was good. I'm always looking forward to Sunday, but this particular Sunday, I was definitely looking forward to.
Really?
Yeah, seeing the students, our servant leaders, talking about what we've been, talking about.
Sure.
A new series. Just talking about.
Y'all did jump off something new today. Okay.
Yeah. Faith, and like really working out faith, like what that looks like. So we're actually studying the Book of James, which is really cool. Definitely had some good conversations. Had a good word today, and just great to see students. Students have been bringing their friends, from school. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, but today was a good day. Today was a good day.
Yes.
So grateful for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Good day, long day.
Right.
Lots of fun stuff on, I think, both sides.
Yeah.
And I love that we get to do what we do together. But we also just have an amazing church family.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not even always what you do, but it's who you get to do it with.
Right.
And I think that we have a great team around us. So, that changes things. We get to serve with our kids, or they get to serve with us. We don't know, however you flip that. But yeah, we just celebrated the 3rd dinner that my daughters had for our daughter Symphony. Her 21st birthday was August 29th. Some of y'all know Keedren's 40th birthday was August 24th, but we gave him a baby for his birthday week. So Symphony turned 21, and we got to have a delightful dinner at this nice place.
Yeah.
Dad reserved it and got it all set up for us, but she chose it. She wanted to, maybe try it. And there was a part where we asked some of her friends who are around her who are older than her, some of her guests, including us, to just share like some words of wisdom. And I think from that conversation, we got to thinking about things that we wish we knew.
Yeah.
Like, what are some things you wish you thought you knew? And we started reflecting. But last night we had a real conversation. Like it was one of those conversations that if we had time to like turn the lights on real good and like set up a camera, that could have easily have been an episode.
Yeah.
Because it got real quick.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't anything that we'd be embarrassed to talk about.
Yeah.
And maybe we will. Maybe we'll ask the question again. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be that honest and that raw, that real, and that transparent, exactly what we promised to bring you all every week. So thank you for tuning in on YouTube and on Facebook as we get into this conversation about things we wish we knew. And you might have some things that you wish you knew. Again, this channel is about encapsulating conversations that we have on a regular basis. These are natural conversations for us. We have them in real life. We have them every day. Some of them we have, throughout the week before we even share them with you. And then sometimes we throw some audibles in, because when we're having conversations, the things that happen organically, they end up getting caught on camera while we're in front of y'all. And because we don't like to edit that much, we don't cut things out. We just post and share it. So that's what y'all are going to get tonight. Some things that we wish we thought we knew, and just kind of talking through some of the seasons of our life. Because one had me scratching my head like, man, reality check, like, sheesh. I wish I knew that. And what are some things that we want our kids to know that we know are important for the adulting stages of their lives? Because I don't know who or what we were getting, information from, or what kind of information we were getting when we were in our 20s and 30s. What about you? Like, what were some of your biggest influences, and what do you think is something that, like, you really wish you knew when you were coming into your early 20s, given like the context of our life and our lifestyle at that time?
Yeah, I mean, man, just now, of course, more and more now, like, when you think of information and how much access we have to information.
Because it's very differently now.
Yeah, definitely. But I really wish, like, it would have been really cool, like, when I think of like the age of Google, where we're in now, where we can really search things and we can really do some deep diving, or I can, just pull up something to get some basic information on something that I just need to know about. I think about this one situation where, when I was going to A&M, going to Texas A&M, I really, like, I wanted to design cars. Like, when I was in high school, I remember, even in middle school, like, I remember talking about, man, that would be cool if it was a Cadillac truck and all this kind of stuff like that. Just in my imagination, I remember in 8th grade thinking about that kind of stuff. I may have a picture of one that I actually drew, in 8th grade. Of course, this was before the Escalade and all that kind of stuff came out. Anyways, I really wanted to, like, design cars. And so as I was learning about learning about college and what that looks like, through Avid. Shout out to Avid. So if any of y'all students, and if y'all were in Avid, or your kids or anyone in Avid, that was a great program. Definitely, I'm grateful for it, because it exposed me to so much. And so, thinking about going to school and career choices, I knew that, okay, well, in my mind, for what I knew basically was, I thought about Detroit, Michigan, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it came to Motor City, and like, I would have to go there in order for me to,
you thought you would have to move to another state?
I really did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And so
that's crazy.
Yeah. Like, for real, I was just like, I can't really do that.
Wow.
When I chose Texas A&M,
and it chose you back.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm thinking of, agricultural and mechanical schools. So when I was thinking of mechanical, and I'm just being for real, I'm thinking like car, I'm thinking like mechanics. I'm thinking about that kind of stuff, And so I
never knew that.
Yeah.
I did not know that that's what you thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Keedren.
Yeah, these are things like, I like in retrospect, looking back, like, man, like, it's different. So I get there and I find out, okay, well, you can't do this here. Like, that's for another school. It's for either tech school, or it's, this is not that kind of school. We don't have those majors here. Right. So then the next thing was architecture. I was like, cool, that'd be cool. I'd love to design houses and do blueprints and stuff like that in middle school.
Designing, period.
Yeah, I remember making in middle school, shout out to Wheatley Middle School, San Antonio East Side. We had a project in some class that we had where I was actually able to make like a blueprint. Yeah, we use like little cardboard boxes, and we cut out little walls, and we did all kinds of cool stuff. So that kind of like stirred some things up. So I was like, okay, architecture. And so this is the point I'm really getting to, as far as like, I wish I really knew this, or knew somebody else, or knew who to talk to, or knew where to go look it up. Because when I wanted to get into architecture, I'm thinking like, okay, I want to do this. And I don't know who it was I was talking to in the office, but I knew, of course, we had, we had children at the time. I knew once I got out of college, I'm thinking like, I just want to make some money. I want to graduate and I want to make money. So they were saying, okay, well, if you become an architect, you have to be an apprentice. And so I'm like, okay, well, do they get paid? If I'm doing this stuff like that. And so I was told, no, like, no, you're gonna do this for free.
And that's
you know
not
what I mean?
always true.
Right. Yeah. And come to find out, like, that wasn't
the case.
But it literally changed my pursuit.
Wow.
It changed my pursuit because I'm just like,
I knew that
part. Well, I'm not gonna do that if I'm, but I wasn't. I wish I would have just had someone to say, hey, look, this is what it could be. You know what I mean? Like, this is not all to it, and so that was one of the things I was thinking about. I love what I get to do now, but I just remember how things like that shaped how I was thinking, and it changed my pursuit based on the information that was given to me. Yeah. So yeah, I'll share that. But yeah, what was something?
No, there's 2 up there.
Yeah, that's good. I see y'all putting that in here. What are some things that y'all continue to do that as you are tuning in? What are some things that you wish you knew? So we have right here. We have Regina Gordon. Thank you so much for sharing this. I wish I knew how to eat healthier and how essential exercise was.
Hey,
that
same.
Come on, man.
Are you still on here?
Listen.
Put some hearts in the chat if you're still on here so we know if we're talking to you for real right now.
Yeah. Cause
yes.
Oh man, like that's for real, but man.
Yes.
It's really been in recent years where health, there she is. Health and wellness and things like that has really been like, I say promoted, but also like giving us, even exposing us to how important that is.
Right. No, absolutely. Because we think about, like, most of us had to take at least a section of like health in high school, or like a portion of the semester in PE or gym or whatever it was, where you had to learn about health. But did we though? Like, outside of coloring the food pyramid, did we? Because that's a farce too. We have learned that the food pyramid is whack, and I don't care. You cannot convince me otherwise. Like, the food pyramid, no, they trying to have us sick. But like, that's the extent of like my understanding of health. And so then you get older. Let me share this story real quick, Regina. This is for real. So I had my last child. I think I was like 28 or 29. And I gained a significant amount of weight, like we do, right? When we're when we're pregnant and stuff like that. So I wasn't really tripping. I just had Zoe. I was nursing, but like the weight normally came off a little bit more quickly, and it wasn't this time. And I remember sitting on the couch one day after nursing her, and both of my feet were like swollen. Like the skin on my feet. I remember asking Keedren, like, do my feet look swollen? And my skin was like leather. And so I ended up setting an appointment to go see my doctor. But of course, they did my blood work and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm immediately diagnosed. Now, I'm either 29 or 30 on the dot, but I'm diagnosed with like pre-diabetes at this age, pre-diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure.
Jeez.
And so the minute I hear this, I do exactly what most of us did when we discovered the internet, right? I started Googling. I did exactly what they told you not to do.
Yeah.
And everything that I looked up about high cholesterol, high blood pressure, being pre-diabetic or diabetic, I just saw as a death sentence. I'm like, I have 4 kids. I have to get better. And so my doctor was like, well, I'll have you back in about 30 days. I'll see you and we'll talk about what medications to put you on. So I'm freaking out. I look up all this stuff. I see this. Our church happened to be going on what they referred to at the time as a Daniel fast. We understand that was Daniel's diet. It wasn't a fast. He was making a point. We could get into the biblical, background of that some other time. But we went on this fast. It was all natural foods, no preservatives, no meat, no sugars, cereals, all the stuff that we had in the pantry that we enjoyed. I mean, thoroughly enjoyed. And we had kids in the house. So we were never, at a lack for any of those things because we just kept a variety of things like that in the house. So we do something, we make a commitment. We're getting rid of stuff. Some stuff we're just putting to the side because we're like, after this fast, we're going to need this stuff. So we just slide it to the side, but we're eating really clean. Well, over this time, I was like, I'm just going to do about 15 minutes of exercise a day. because when I tried to commit to doing like the little programs and watching, Tybo on TV, P90X, like I could not commit to it because it wasn't my lifestyle. So I was trying to start something in the middle of this fast. I'm like, I'm just not disciplined enough yet. And I knew that, but I said I could commit to doing 15 minutes of whatever I want every single day. I can do 15 minutes jumping jacks or sit-ups or, squats, whatever I feel like doing, that's what I'll do. Long story short, fast forward, 33 days later, I go back to my doctor. My husband is with me. And blood work done again. I have to do the labs before I get to see my doctor because he has to review my lab work. And he's like, there's no sign of diabetes at all. So I'm like, I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. No high blood pressure, no high cholesterol. And he asked what I did. And I said, did a Daniel fast. He was like, what's that? I said, basically, I went vegan for 21 days and I stayed on it a little bit longer. Well, it was for us, like I wasn't drinking milk because I remember after that, I was no longer able to consume whole milk because my system wouldn't tolerate it. Anyway, I say all that to say, I learned at 30 years old with 4 children, married, that you could reverse several things in your body and course correct by changing your diet. And it had very little to do with that exercise because that same 15 minutes that I said I was doing, I still couldn't maintain it, for all of the 30 days or the 21 days. But I did more of it than usual because in my mind, I'm like, I can't have all these illnesses. Like I can't have all this stuff going on with me. And I can't get on medication at this young age. And I know that there are people who have to, but I'm just telling my story. That's how I felt. I was afraid. I looked on the internet and all I saw was worst case scenario. And this is somebody I was like 30 pounds over my usual weight. So in my mind, I'm like, how can this be? So reversing all of that, I learned at 30 years old that I needed to really look at what I was putting into my body because everything that I thought tasted good was not good for me. And the rest is history. And so from that point on, my husband knows, like, I will go different seasons where I'm like, I'm doing a cleanse or I'm just not eating meat today. And I still eat meat. I'm not saying give up meat. I'm saying, but I will have moments where I just feel like don't eat meat for a day and I just won't, or whatever that looks like. And I'm just being obedient to the Holy Spirit. And I can't give anybody diet tips or advice or anything like that. I'm just saying, those were things I just did not know about my body at a cellular level that could help us be better. And then it became one of those things where I'm like, we got to do better for our whole entire family. So we need to change a lot of the things that we're purchasing and putting into the house because they're going to consume it. So,
no, that's really good. But I also want to say, even to that, because of course it's healthy, it's eating healthy and exercise. Because even back then, I was always thinking about exercising as if you're an athlete, you just work out. If you want to compete, that was the only reason I worked out. That was the only reason I was running or lifting weights. Because it's just like just wanting to, lift weights or work out. If I was going to compete at something, not doing it to stay healthy. Even in college, when I would go, when I would go to the rec, it was because I was trying to get into something to compete, versus just having a mindset or even a lifestyle to say, no, just a healthy lifestyle. You can work out without going to, without being on some kind of team or anything like that. So just the mindset. So that's really good to think about.
And we were kids. Way. Like Regina makes a good point too. Like they were feeding us crap for lunch. Like they're still doing that in a lot of places. I can't speak for everyone's district. I don't want nobody like my kids get excellent lunch. If they are, I'm so happy for you.
There are some places I heard some kids today talking about.
It's a lot of it's still junk food.
Because they were talking about Sonic.
They were.
That cafeteria, you eat good, man.
They were. They were eating things that they liked.
But still. And then that gets old after a while too. You go and Sonic every day of the week. And
it's just no good. And we did not know that. We weren't measuring any of that information against anything because it was just stuff we did not know. We just flat out didn't know. For sure. So
so y'all keep share with us as we're talking too. I know we have some others, but share with us in here and what are some things that that you wish you knew when. So I think right now, you know, are we talking about in our 20s and our teens, or where?
I felt like for me, just coming into adulthood, I felt like there was some basic things.
Gotcha.
Like, for example, someone is sharing like how Army recruiters lie. Like in general, certain military, they were coming to high schools. Like, is that your story? Who said that? They were coming to high schools. I remember being, oh, sweet Army Station, like I'm down for the cause, but they lied.
Mm-hmm.
No, they offered us pizza. We were in high school together, and they offered us pizza that day. And I remember being like, I'm hungry. Like, I want to eat good today. I'll go take the ASVAB. And they offered us pizza to take the military entrance exam. And we both scored really well. I didn't care nothing about that test. I was like, okay, cool. We're done. Time's up. Where's the pizza? Everybody who finished could go to the room next door and have some pizza. That's all I cared about. They will promise you the moon and the stars.
And no shots to recruiters, any military recruiters that are genuine, really going out to give good information and make sure students and people have what they need in order to make a logical and a sound informed decision about serving the country. So, but there are some things, there are some ones that have turned us off in ways. It's just like one of my viewers is expressing as well. So
my point was, when they came to our school, they were talking to us at 17 and 18 years old. Our parents were not around. And so when they start talking to you or they get your information, when I got my first 2 phone calls after I took that ASVAB, no one asked to speak to my mom. So this is not about me personally being lied to, but I know that the probability of it happening more often than not is very likely, when I know that in my experience, an adult man calling me, asking to talk to me, talking to me on the phone 2 times, giving me information, and then ending the call like, do you have any questions? And me not knowing what questions to ask, right?
So that's key. That's important.
Yes. And I had a friend that joined the Navy and didn't have enough information and just left. And her mom was like, she didn't even need my permission. And they were like, no, once you turn 18, you don't need your permission. And that's what they told her. But how dangerous is it to make, like, we have 2 adulting kids right now. And we would never want them to make
that decision,
that huge decision by themselves without hearing their plan, what they're thinking, what their goals are, helping them think some things through. That is dangerous. And then they could end up anywhere. Like, you don't know what I prepared my child for. And they signed their name on the dotted line, and they no longer belong to us or themselves. They belong to the U.S. government. So I could see how that's possible. You want information and you want to be clear. So yes, we've definitely known some recruiters that we believe walk with integrity, but also we were saying the same thing about colleges. Like Keedren opened up the conversation with, there is no incentive for colleges to talk to you about your future and help you land jobs when you're done, or have a financial plan in place for you, when it comes to your money and paying for it, or having to take out loans and paying it back. There's no incentive necessarily for them. So you want to know what questions to ask. You want to know what you don't know. And so part of what we do is making sure, like, we are sharing what we know, because we know that there were things that we just had no clue to ask. Not everybody is bad. But you can make bad decisions with a lack of information. In our early 20s and in college, like, when I tell you, I had 3 associate's degrees coming out of one community college because they just let me stay there and keep taking classes and keep taking classes and kept taking my money and let me keep getting loans, until I was like, wait a minute, when do I transfer? I'm supposed to.
What does that look like?
When do I? I'm still here. Don't send me another degree. Like, it got so bad.
No,
I was already in another university, and I still got an associate's degree in the mail. And I was like, what is liberal arts?
I remember that.
What?
I remember that,
Right? And they stayed there, and they kept taking my money. I didn't need to be there.
So you wish you would have knew how to
track that myself.
How to plan that out. So I remember the 2+2 thing. You go to community college for 2 years, go to university for 2 years.
You got me high. I'm only a third of my coffee
through. Coffee. It's Folgers too, man.
Y'all know about me.
They're gonna be gone. Like, listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna say this, and this right here. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay. I started to grab me some of that coffee, give me a sip. I'm drinking apple juice right here.
Both of us.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
That's all right.
You have me in here crying.
Listen.
My gosh.
That's all right.
You have me in here crying.
But here's the thing, like this is stuff like as we were thinking about this, they say hindsight is 20/20, and looking back in retrospect, not in regret,
right.
But just thinking like of the choices that we made, the insight that we lacked, maybe what things look like. It's just interesting to look back and say, man, like that. I really did that, and that shouldn't have been done that way. Maybe it could have been done a little different. Or how in the world did I figure that out? You know what I mean?
That part too.
Because thank God for that. I think that's grace. That's grace right there.
That was the grace of God. And listen, in this conversation, we hope that you will hear that, because like he just said, this is definitely not, it's not a reflection of regret.
Yeah.
But they are things we really wish we had known. We're grateful for the grace of God. We know that the grace of God is on our children. We're not like, we need you to know everything. Like, there are some things we still will not be able to tell them or prepare them for. There are some things you do have to learn. However, they do get the benefit of what we do know and what we have learned.
Yeah.
And they'll figure out the rest and be a little bit further along, because God is faithful. Yeah. And we're so grateful that he took into account human error when we were making our decisions based on the plans that he knew he had for us.
Yeah.
And still has for us and still has for you. So that's just good. A pause for encouragement. God takes into account human error. And if you have found yourself in a place where you're like, how did I end up here? This is not where I saw myself. This is not what I wanted to have happen. These were not my intentions. Yeah. Just know that it is never too late to just have that conversation with God and revisit that and say, God, here I am. I surrender my will and what I want and what I think I want or think I need to you, because I know that you know best. You love me. You care for me. Yeah. And you know I'm crazy. So help me. I'm listening now. Maybe I wasn't listening then, but I'm listening now. Yeah. You can still do that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's real good.
Mighty God.
Yeah, listen. So thinking about that. So we have some others. I think that's Tamara with us right here as well.
Okay.
Tuned in.
Yeah. Let's see what it says.
And this is real. This is real stuff. I wish I knew not to give my kids all those vaccines. Didn't find out until research when I was expecting my third child. The first two got vaccine injury. The third, we did no vaccines. So the thing about and a lot of this stuff is personal experience.
Yes.
Too, right? And as far as like, man, not knowing or not being informed or whatever that is looking back. But then, as Tamara says, knowing how to move forward and say, hey, this right here,
we're gonna do something different.
We're gonna do something different. Yeah. Because that's tough. Like, and these things really, thank God, by the grace of God, some of these things, some of the decisions that we made didn't finish us off or our family off. Yeah. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But these are things that we're thinking about, but they also help us inform us about the future. Right.
And I love that point, because here's the thing too. With things like that, and people can feel how they want. This is not a political channel.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But people can feel how they want. And they can say, oh, well, research doesn't support that, or that's not really, they haven't found anything. That's just, anecdotal. Yeah. Well, when it happens to you personally, do you need more?
Right.
Like, whose study do you need?
Right. That's the thing.
When it's happened to you personally.
You cannot argue someone's personal experience. No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah. So that's
you cannot.
That's
because
that's real.
It's just real.
Yeah.
And I was one of those moms where I said, moving forward, I'm gonna be selective.
Yeah.
I might say no to certain ones when I feel like
it. No, I remember coming back, taking the babies to, because I went to, knowing some of our story, I was going to Texas A&M while Couture and our children were still living in San Antonio. So I was living in College Station, going to school, but I would still travel back pretty much maybe 3 times a month. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that man was putting miles on that wagon.
Yeah, and so, I would come back for every doctor's appointment that I could. I probably missed less than...
You missed less than 1 or 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Less than 2.
Right, yeah. Definitely. But I remember coming back one particular time. We were downtown, and I think it was Aaron, and they were he was behind a little bit on some of the shots, and so they wanted to try to catch him up. Yeah, I remember that, because that was the second situation is where they wanted to catch them up.
Right.
And I remember you saying, no, we're not going to do 3 and 4 shots, however many it was. They wanted to do it all at one time, and so I remember you saying, no, we're not going to do that. I stood by her on that. Hey, Jess, we'll do this, and then we'll go from there. At the time, because it was what they needed to go to school and things like that. It was those vaccines. But I remember you saying, like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put that much on them and in them in those moments. So because of how you felt, but also just some experiences and just you learning about how important it is to not
overwhelm a child's system.
Yeah.
Like, some people may say none at all. I cannot say that ours did not receive any shots. They all entered public school, with those expectations having to have been met. But I had to put my foot down when I felt like you're not about to give my child 4 shots today. Oh, it's better get out the way, so we, or you're gonna have to make another appointment. And I said, yes, ma'am. The same way we got ourselves here today, if we need to come back, we can bring ourselves back.
Right. Yeah.
And so they were years apart when they should have been months apart and different things like that. But that was a decision I made. To me, I feel that my decision is no better or no worse than the parent who said, we're not doing this again, and not at all, because that's our right. Again, because no one can argue with that. And that little handout that they give you, they're like, give them Tylenol, give them this. I mean, it really has little to no information on it. And again, this was about information that we wish we knew that we did not have.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to rely on that intuition, those gut feelings. And that was a gut feeling for me. So kudos to you for following your heart. And I think the leading of the Holy Spirit as well.
That's real. That's real. Just some other ones. This is really good too. I wish I knew.
Oh yes, boo. Yeah. Who said that?
That's Tamara as well. Yeah.
Yeah, same. We have the same story when it comes to that. Yeah. So if some of you are watching,
and we see you, Lizzie. We got you, Lizzie. We got you.
Yeah, stay there, Lizzie. Some of you who are wondering, like, what are they talking about? Like hair crack relaxers. There is a chemical product called a relaxer that a lot of women with ethnic hair have been exposed to, even from children up through our teens and early adulthood, and wanting to get our hair to be more manageable, right? And so we put that on and burned our scalp a lot of the times and wanted it to be straight and wanted it to look a certain way. And a lot of it had to do with identity and the standards of beauty. And some of it was just manageability. But either way, we exposed ourselves to really harmful chemicals. Some of us were exposed. We were introduced by parents who thought, they were just trying to help us. Yeah. They didn't maybe know all the dangers. It seemed like everyone was doing it. Nice. It wouldn't be on the market if it wasn't safe, right? And so some women are finding that it's not safe. But I remember one year, my oldest daughter, I just looked at her hair one day and I was like, baby girl, we got to cut this. We got to start over with this hair. We're not doing any more relaxers. And she looked at my hair that was still relaxed and it was straight like it is now. My hair is not relaxed. It's my natural hair. It's just flat ironed. But at the time, she was looking at my relaxed hair and she was like, Mommy, I wish I had hair like yours. I said, baby, you do have hair like mine. This is a relaxer. And it was at that moment I knew that I needed to cut all my hair off and let her see how my naturally curly hair grew out of my scalp, just like her, so that she would know if I was calling her beautiful, then I could embrace mine too. And that's what started all of our natural hair journey. So my youngest daughter, Zoe, her hair has never seen a chemical relaxer.
That's true.
For that reason. Now, it doesn't say we don't straighten our hair. We do whatever we want, but we're not exposing it to chemicals because it's not, we don't consider it safe for us. Some people feel like they can do it safely. I don't feel that we can do it safely.
Yeah.
So we don't anymore. But we didn't know how to take care of our hair. We didn't know about products and detangling the right way and what we needed. The product market was not designed for us. And the people designing the things did not look like us, did not have hair like us, but they were putting things out and we just wanted to be like everybody else. So we're grabbing what was on the shelves and what was being marketed for the sake of fitting in and just trying to be beautiful. And so, things we wish we knew earlier. And I think I was in my late 20s at that point as well, if not early 30s.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Still learning from I love that though. I remember that season.
Yeah.
When y'all had the little afros.
We all
things
right.
like that. Yeah. I fully supported it,
short or long, your natural hair is
Yeah.
perfectly fine. You're beautiful. So
yeah.
Young ethnic curly haired girl out there, wavy hair girl, your curls are beautiful, girl.
Yeah. Love that. Let's look at this one. So Lizzie said, I wish I knew how to navigate my life sooner because I feel like I'm starting everything late.
Oh,
that's
sweet
real.
Lizzie.
Yeah, that's real.
That's my baby cousin.
Yeah. Listen, like the
talk to Lizzie.
The wonderful thing about that is that the good news about that is the fact that you're thinking about where you are in your life right now, right? It's never too late. It's not a cliche unless we want it to be.
Unless you really
stop trying. But the thing about it is you can look at where you are, look at where you have been, where you don't want to be, and you can make the right steps one day at a time to move forward in the direction that you want to go. I remember when I first turned 30, and man, I felt like
he went through it.
As far as like, because I was, as a recording artist, I was traveling, making music and doing things. And I was like, man, when I turn 30, man, that's gonna be too. I can't rap no more. I can't sing and be trapping, doing all this kind of stuff. I just felt like I was too old to do stuff. Yeah. And I don't know why, but it was discouraging. So it was discouraging.
Right? When we think back now, we're like, that was so weird.
Yeah, and I thank God, in the moment, there were some people that talked to me about some things and some other artists that were older than me. I mean, about 5, 6, 7 years that were still doing some amazing things that encouraged me, in those ways to just let me know, like, no, you keep doing what you're passionate about. You keep, doing what you love. Don't worry about what it looks like or your age, and things like that. But the thing about it is, yes, we can all do things different. Like, I mean, we can't, but there are some things that we wish we could do different. Like, by the time we were 19, we had 2 children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were a lot of things that happened that were out of order, right?
Yeah,
that
definitely out of order. If you're younger and you're watching this, we don't condone it.
We weren't
is
married.
We story. It's a testimony now.
Definitely a testimony.
Yeah.
But there are some things we learned in those seasons too, even though it wasn't easy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I think that definitely helped us to mature in some ways as we kind of soaked in our decisions and how they impacted us. So as we do that, as you think about your life, even now, and soak in what you have done and what you've, I don't know it all like that, but as far as where you feel like you are right now, where you want to go, it's not too late to press toward that mark and that goal. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing that you're even thinking about. Man, I want things to be different. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's true, because
that's a big
there's
deal.
A benefit to even being in this mature season of your life now. Because I wish I had known some things like that too. Honestly,
me too. Yeah.
I'm gonna message you after this. I may still have your number, Lizzie, but your big cousin's gonna keep in touch with you. Okay, I will do better. I'm gonna message you after this and make sure that you have my number, and then we'll text, and then we'll get in touch for real.
Yeah.
Because you got your big cousin here.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was, I feel the same way. There was a moment, like, okay, here's the deal. I started college at 18. I graduated at 30 years old with my bachelor's degree. Now I had all them random associate degrees I told y'all about earlier.
I agree.
Like some of them were intentional, but some of them was like, okay, what is this? 3 associate degrees and 1 bachelor's degree and 2 certifications. Like I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my last semester of classes with 20 somethings and thinking, I should not still be here. Like I'm graduating when them and they're 22 and they're 23. And I'm 30 years old. I started teaching my first year. Got through that. I taught for 3 years. And my experience in life, my maturity in life helped me to navigate that season in ways that I'm positive I would not have been able to at 23, 24, 25. That was just me. Some of y'all are maybe smarter than I was and more hip or more savvy. But there were things that as a mature 30-year-old and still maturing that I just knew that helped me in those early stages of my career. By the 3rd year of my career, I was offered positions that I would have never ever applied for and did not apply for. Was offered an opportunity to go back to school for my master's and not pay for it, to design 2 school campuses and programs, to work on them, to become an assistant principal, to get my principal certification, like all of that stuff. And then I got my principal certification and all that within the span between 30 and 35 years old. And people were looking like, how did that happen? How did you just get here?
How did you do this? Yeah.
How did you just get here and like fast track this career that some had been working towards for 20 years? And it's nothing against them. And I was not gloating then, and I'm not gloating or boasting now. What I'm saying is that there were some advantages to that. But all of that was on me to say, God, I surrender all the plans that I feel like I may have had for my life, because clearly that didn't work out. 12 years later, like going to college at 18 and not crossing the stage with a 4-year degree until 12 years later, I can relate. But
so
God's
how many
plan,
kids?
4.
12 years and 4 kids later.
Yes. And with the span of 5 years, I end up with 3 certifications by now. 3 associate's degrees, a bachelor degree, a master degree, and I've gone from teacher to the principalship and school designer in a span of 5 years. So the time that I thought I lost, thank you, Jesus. The time that I thought I lost, God redeemed the time. He didn't give me more time. He made more efficient the time that I had. Because of my age, because of my maturity, my focus was really different than I think it may have been had I started at 22, 23, 24, like I thought I was going to. My path was to get in at 18 and be done by 22 and start my career by 23 at the latest.
Jeez,
And it took nearly a decade later after that time, I was like living my best life in the career of my dreams. And then I think the next year after that, by the time, how old was I when we moved here? I think I was 35. And then I got to take a position and move to a city that I never thought I would have been able to, but wanted to, and have almost not my dream job, but a job that I love so much. And just really appreciate what I get to do now in this season of my life. So now at 40, what I think about my future and my past choices has really changed. But the difference maker has really been the place that we put God in our life.
That's good.
That has been the difference maker. It wasn't me changing my mind. Excuse me, y'all. It wasn't me working harder like I originally thought, right? And I'll say that. It wasn't me just working harder. It was really like giving what I had and who I was to him and being like, okay, God, if this is the plan, let me get in line with your plan, because my plan was clearly as well thought out as I thought it was. It was not the plan that you had for me. And so becoming a mom and trying to be in a relationship in my career and navigating adulting parents, or trying to be an adult and relationships with my parents, like that was just all stuff that sometimes we have to figure out on the fly. And I made mistakes there too. If I'm just being honest, like we promised you real, raw, transparent, relevant, like I made mistakes there too. And so I know that God's grace is what helped me get through that. But yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So I like this too, just to kind of give some more voice to where she's at even in this season. I guess for me, I look at my peers and other family members. And with me having my first child young, I was still learning myself as a teen mom and trying to figure out when is the right time. I'm almost at the finish line. Yeah. So first of all,
congratulations.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, it's
it's
important to take time
yeah.
to celebrate the little wins that are really big deals.
They are.
Right. Because life really is a marathon. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And if we do not take moments to celebrate where we are, even if we haven't necessarily accomplished something yet, if we are on the path and going the direction that we want to go, it's good to just pause and take a water break and say, look, let me just refresh myself right now and recognize that I'm doing better than I used to. I may not be where I want to be, as I said, but I'm not where I used to be.
That's right.
And it's so easy to compare ourselves because I've done the same thing. We've done the same thing collectively and individually, to compare ourselves to whether it's family, whether it's other people that we that we've met or admire. Whether it's people that have done what we were trying to do. Comparison is one of those things that is natural for us as humans,
because we're trying to figure out where we stand, how we measure up.
Yeah, we really are. But we also
we're just using the wrong stick. To measure.
That's true. But we also know that sometimes comparison can be a thief. Of our joy, of our peace. When we do those things and we see what someone else is doing, and then it kind of makes us feel like we're not doing enough, and either we'll pause or freeze what we're doing because it's not good enough, so it's useless, or we'll criticize ourselves so much that
it discourages us.
We definitely will do that, but definitely hats off to you for pursuing your dream, your passion, and before you know it, you're gonna look up, you'll be done, you'll be you'll be where you want to be, and complete those goals that you have set. And then on to the next thing, but celebrate the little wins. Celebrate the little wins. That's what I see even when you say I'm almost at the finish line. That's a big deal right there.
That was that stayed stuck in my mind because I get it. And I was in your shoes. You probably know that about me too, but I was a teen mom. We were teen parents.
For sure.
So we definitely get that. But congratulations. And I want to hear more about that. Okay. It's a God time. So God was ready. Absolutely.
That's good. That's so real.
When you think about being on God's time versus now. But see, that's one of those things again, right? When you're coming into adulthood, you need somebody to tell you that. It's absolutely okay to not have life figured out. I used to tell our kids, like as they were graduating, one day you're in high school and you have to raise your hand to use the restroom. And then the next day you're graduating and the next question, not from you, but to you is, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Where are you going next? What are you... Like you're expected to have all these answers and you feel the pressure to have an answer, to have a plan, to sound articulate. What's your plan? What are your goals? What's your 5-year plan? Your 10-year plan?
Right.
I mean,
it's so much.
It's so
much. Yeah.
Now we still tell our kids it is okay to change your mind. Because sometimes we need to change. Sometimes us changing our mind is really surrendering and saying, I did say I was going to school for psychology, but turns out God was pointing me toward education. So yes, I did change my major. And yes, it may take me another semester. Or I decided that college wasn't for me after all. I'm going to trade school because I'm really interested in this and this is what I'm going to do. Or I got this amazing opportunity. I'm going to travel and I'm going to go here. Being okay to change your mind. Because us trying to plan everything and have a timeline, it just doesn't work. But again, the secret sauce and that God time is really submitting and committing your life to him.
Yeah.
You won't hear his plan for your life, and you certainly won't see the vision that he has for your life. If you believe how we believe.
Yeah.
If you believe how we believe, then you understand what I'm saying when I say that God's plan for you is to prosper you. He wants you to be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Like that is the ultimate goal. He does not want to see you just out here making mistakes and watching you saying, oh, screwed up again. That's not his plan for you. That's not his goal for you, but he will allow you because you have free will to make some decisions. And then there are some that we're so grateful that he blocked and said, oh, I know that's what you wanted to do, but I had to pause you here and protect you. Or I came in and I blocked that thing to protect you from yourself and whatever that was on the other side of that decision. So it's so much easier when you know that it's okay to surrender your plans to God and not feel like, no, I'm an adult. I've got to figure this out myself.
I got to have it all together.
Oh, all of it.
Right now, I had to see it all the way. I got to see it from start to finish. I got to have it planned out. Because we can make a plan, right? We can make our plans. And the Bible says this too. We can make a plan, but God is going to be the one that ultimately establishes them. Those, and so, but yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
And he's going to establish his plan and his will for your life.
Yeah.
And if you can trust him, if you can trust the God who created you, surely we want to encourage you to trust that he created you with a purpose.
Yeah.
And a purpose is just a series of assignments and things that you need to do in obedience to what God is saying and how he's leading your path, and being okay to relinquish that level of control. And so much better. Like I'm talking to the 20-something, the 30-something that's like that you haven't heard this. If you haven't heard anyone tell you this, there's just nothing better. There's nothing better. And we have walked with him through our 20s and through our 30s. But there were other parts and decisions that we learned the long way. Not always the hard way, but we learned the long way. And if we can just save you time, that you may enjoy your experience a little bit better, because you find that you're making decisions that are more efficient as part of God's plan for your life, then we want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
This is not to old people like, don't make the mistakes we made. We're just saying there are some things we would have liked to have known and wish we had heard. So we're trying to be the people that we needed.
Yeah, for sure. Enjoy the process.
Yes.
Like, enjoy the process.
Oh, that's good too. That right there.
Yeah, because it's within the process that you really that's where all the action is. You know what I mean? Sometimes it might get crazy, might be wild, there's the adventure in that, but if you can stop right now and think about where you're at in your life, think about where you want to go, and we're definitely people of faith and prayer, doing our best to acknowledge God in everything that we do. But if you take a moment to just say, look, this is where I'm at right now, and celebrate the wins, but also understand that you're more likely doing better than you think you are.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That is true.
Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about the fact that if you're even analyzing your life right, and if you're even thinking about where you're at and where, like I remember seasons of my life where I wasn't thinking about that.
Right.
I wasn't thinking about where I was at or where I'm going. I was just doing.
I've always been a little cerebral.
Yeah.
I've always kind of.
But I remember a season of my life where I just felt like this is what I have to do right now in this season. So I just doing. You know what I mean? I was doing something, but if that's all I was doing, instead of thinking about who I am, like what am I being like right now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what do I need to be? Not what do I need to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's one thing I wish I would have learned sooner.
Right.
To really work on who I wanted to be and not who I want, what I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because that's a bigger thing.
Who you want to be.
Yeah.
Who? I love that. I love that. I love the idea of that. Because I feel like there was a season where we actually talked about that.
Yeah.
Instead of like the to-do list, who do I want to be? Because what I do should point me
right,
and should align with actually who I want to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. I wanted us to kind of turn the corner just a little bit and share some things that we're glad that we knew. Because at Symphony's 21st birthday party dinner, or at least her third one, I mentioned that in the beginning because we ended up having several dinners with her. But one of the things I am glad I knew from an early age, that sometimes you need to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That was something that my mom taught me and instilled, and she repeated.
Yeah.
Another thing she used to say to me was that I can't wait for you to get older to understand. I have to raise you now. And she would say this on the heels of making a decision, or, you know, telling me I couldn't do something, or I couldn't go somewhere, or I couldn't spend time with a certain friend or something like that. And I would be so upset. And she would be like, I don't always have a good reason why I feel this way, but I have to raise you now. I know you don't understand, but I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I found that became a part of my parenting practice. And that thing alone helped me, like, even in the earliest stages of raising our kids.
Yeah.
Doing what I have to do until I could do what I want to do, and raising my kids now and not being so caught up on them just liking me or making them smile or just making them happy, knowing that that was my duty and obligation as a parent. And I needed to do those things. Those things helped me. And so even when she's like, oh, I know I didn't do everything right, I'm like, look, neither did I.
Right.
There are no perfect parents. There are no perfect kids, but we were perfect for each other.
For sure.
And parents, if you're on here and you're listening, you are perfect for your kids. They are perfect for you. And we're just going to keep on loving each other through this thing called life, because this relationship is probably the longest thing we'll ever do. Yeah. All relationships are the longest things we'll ever do.
Yeah.
And so those were two things for me. Anything stand out for you?
Yeah, I would say this, you know, that's great. Like, and I know I've heard you say that for years, and even teaching our children, you know, that very thing too. And even me, like, taking that on, like, doing what I have to do until we can do what we want to do. But I would say mine would be, this was super pivotal for me in my life. My mentor, Kelly Hudson. I remember I used to make a lot of excuses when I was in college, you know what I'm saying? And I think of course I had some legitimate reasons, but there was a season in my life where I was just doing that too much. Of course, I was away from my family, in a long distance relationship, having, children,
he was missing
in college. But I was making a lot of excuses. And I remember Kelly telling me, he said, stop playing the victim. As long as you play the victim, you'll never be the victor.
I remember that.
I remember him telling me that because I was blaming stuff on my professors. I was like, I got to work. I got to do this. And they don't want to do this. And I'm just trying. And he's just like, man, stop being a victim. Like, you're never going to be victorious as long as you're making excuses, and it's always woe is you. It's always somebody else. What are you doing? What can you control?
Right.
And so that really changed my perspective to just man up and say, you're right. Okay, let me switch my perspective and let me get my stuff right, because I can't control what other people do. I can control how I respond. I can control how I work, how I handle what I need to handle.
Right.
And if I do that, if I leave it all on the table, if I leave it all on the field, if I leave it all out there, then I won't have any regrets or even reasons to say, I didn't give it my all. And so that helped me, at an earlier stage. So I'm glad I did know that.
Yes, that's good.
In my life, to just say, look, don't be the victim.
Right.
Don't put it on someone else. What is it that you can do in order for you to make a difference in your life?
I like that. I remember you telling me that because I wasn't on that conversation.
Yeah.
But you came back.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, he gave it to you.
Yeah,
but you came back and were like, Couture, that's what Kelly said.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, man.
Yeah.
No, those are some strong words, but that's real.
Yeah, that's big boy talk right there.
Man, that's the grown-ups.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop being a victim because you will never be the victor.
I know you've never forgotten that because that was more than a decade ago.
Yeah.
And that was real words to live by.
Yeah.
So be thinking about that kind of stuff too. You know, I definitely feel like there were some more helpful things that I feel like I definitely knew and definitely helped me in various stages.
Yeah.
One, being introduced, you know, to Christ at a young age, that helped me in my early age. It helped me even especially as a teen mom. I remember telling you the story of me walking across the living room, rubbing my belly because it was one night, you know, school night. I could not sleep and I turned on BET. I don't know if y'all know about that, but if you're in my age group, you probably remember there being videos and stuff on. But matter of fact, it wasn't a normal school night. It was like a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I had to go to school Monday morning. And Bishop Jakes was on BET preaching, and he preached this message about David and Mephibosheth, and it was called Delayed But Not Denied. And it was the story of David revisiting the house of Saul. Mephibosheth was Saul's grandson, but he was best friends with Jonathan, Saul's son. And he was driven out of that area. David had to leave, but he came back years later. And there's a whole story that I can point you to in the book of Samuel. But I got to teach that story today in our children's ministry. And it brought back so many memories because it was always my favorite story. But the message being delayed but not denied, and the way Bishop Jakes told the story, he had a table on the platform. And he had a man sitting at the table. And I think that this man was actually like wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair. And he had some of the deacons have him on the stage, but he was lame in his feet or lame in his legs. And that was Mephibosheth's story, that he had been dropped as a baby. And he was mistreated and basically treated like a peasant, not royalty, not like he had an inheritance. And he had a place in that kingdom, but he was not living that. He was not experiencing that inheritance. And when David returned to him, basically the story was, I may have been delayed. This blessing that belongs to you has been delayed, but you are not denied. You're broke. You may have been bruised, but you're not broken. You're not trash. You still have a hope. You still have a future. You still belong at the head of the table. You are a son of the king and all of that. And it just spoke to me because of the place that I was in, you know, as a teenage mom and walking the floor pregnant. And it was like that ministry in that moment was like, Couture, you're not trash. You're not broken. Maybe there'll be some delays, but you are not denied. You are still a child of God. You're going to do this right. And at that moment, I was like, you know what, Lord, I give my life back to you. I know who you are. I've not been in church, but I'm giving my life back to you. I served you when I was going to church as a little girl, and I still had notebooks and little Bible books. And I used to copy scripture, write scripture, memorize scripture. And I still have a notebook that I have now that I've shown to my kids. And I was like 12, 13 years old at the time. And I remember that being a pivotal moment for me. And I'm glad that was a part of my foundation. Those are the kind of things that I was glad that I knew, because I wasn't in someone's church when I gave my life back to Christ, or when I dedicated my life back to Christ and said, I don't want to be a bad mom just because I'm young.
Yeah.
I want to be a good mom. I want you to help me raise this child so that, you know, he has the benefit of living a godly life and having a better life than what I could give him outside of you. And he changed my life. Yeah. And when I tell you, y'all, things went like this first before they came all the way back up.
Yeah. Wow.
And that same child is 24 years old and serves the Lord, loves him, has been a great kid, you know, his entire life. We're so proud of him.
Yeah.
still loves, like I think
still
I said that right.
kid,
Still a great kid, grown,
man,
loves the Lord, is in school, working, responsible, all of those things, pursuing his passion.
Yeah.
And I said all that to say, again, I make my boast in the Lord, because at 15 years old, to pray that prayer in that moment, it was life-changing. And there are some things that even when we look back, right? We look back and we say, oh, I wish I knew this because I did this wrong. There are some things you did right. There are some things that actually saved your life. There are some things that really are part of the reason why we know you and get to hear your story today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know who that was for, but I didn't cry this time sharing it. So I pray that that just encourages somebody. Delayed but not denied.
Yeah.
So even if you feel like you have lost time due to decisions or the upbringing that you did or did not have, the presence of parents that you did or did not have, whatever that looked like for you, maybe there was some delay and maybe it was contributed to that. Release that, forgive, let go quickly, start the process and just say, if they knew better for real, I probably would have gotten better. Yeah. But since I know better, I can do better.
Right.
And I'm going to let God and allow God to continue to work in my life and be Lord over my life.
Yeah.
so that I can start to walk the path that was always intended for me, because I can guarantee you his plans are so much better than the things that we could ever plan for ourselves.
Jeez, yeah.
For sure. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
Don't believe me, just watch.
That's real. No, yeah, we've front row seat to that. That's good. That's good, girl.
There's somebody.
I would say just to kind of tie all this together.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of minutes that have passed in our life, even to this point. As you're watching this, as we're talking about this, there has been so many minutes that have passed. You can count however old you are right now. Do the math, right? Millions of minutes, thousands, hundreds, thousands, whatever that is.
Who knows how to do the math on that?
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. And we can't make more minutes. We don't even know how many more minutes we have left. Right. In this world. I don't know how many minutes I have left. Right.
Me either.
And we can't make any more. But we can always make more moments. Yes. We can always make new moments. Yes. And so even the moments that we wish we could have back, the moments that we wish were different, that we can't do anything about those. Those are learning moments. You know, we got to look at them like that. Let's learn from those moments.
That's so
but also make new moments in your life right now. New memories, new things that, you know, as you pursue what you're passionate about, purposeful things. It's not too late to pursue your passion. It's not too late. And we're going to talk about this. There's actually some, some series that we're going to do coming up. And one of these things, one of the subjects and the topics is going to be about pursuing our passion and what that looks like. Because, it's important to think about those things. Like, what are you passionate about? Right? No matter how old you are. If you haven't had an opportunity to even think about that, because I've just been doing what I had to do in my life to make it. I've been just doing whatever I needed. I've been working at this job all this time because this is what I had to do. I get that.
Yeah, there's a season for that.
And totally understandable. But I just want to just say and leave you all with make new moments with yourself, with your family, your loved ones. Because that's the only thing we really have control of, and don't miss the moments. I love how the whole book by Pastor Show Brady. I love that. Don't miss the moment. But you can make new moments in your life starting now. I love what we get to do. These moments that we share. Even though we talk all the time, You know what I mean? This is just something, you shared this earlier too. Like a lot of these conversations we have, throughout our day, throughout the weeks, some stuff we've talked about in the past. And we're just kind of capturing these things, but also some of the stuff we want to hear from y'all. So thank y'all so much for engaging us. If you're watching this, please put in the comments some of the things that you wish you knew. And then also put in the comments some things that you're glad that you did know, because that matters as well. Yeah. It all helps with, with futuristic type decisions, like helping us to be wise. We're able to look back and say, man, if this was different, I would have done things different. If I knew this now, I would have done things different, right? Absolutely. I would have applied the knowledge that I know now. It's just, that's just impossible. Yeah. But what is possible is the things that you have learned, the things we have learned. What is possible now is to apply those things in our life, or to pass them on, right, to someone that will listen, someone that has your attention, or you have their attention, to pour into them, pass it on. Right. So it's still useful. It's not useless. The things that we got into that maybe we didn't do it right. I asked students today what their definition of wisdom was or is, and one young lady shared. She shared, she said, I feel like it's wise to listen to what other people have been through and what they have said, and apply that to my life in that way, to help me. Sure. And so with that being said, there's some things that you have been through, some things that you have gone through and made it through, that when you share that with others, it's helping them to not make the same mistakes, or just giving them some insight that will help them in their life. And that's a big deal. Right. That's a big deal. Someone will listen. Someone will soak that up. We all have influence. We all have some level of influence, right? You know what I mean? Somebody that will listen to what you have to say, and so take it to heart. Yeah. Treat it as wisdom. So for sure. Yeah. So just want to encourage you all to take it one day at a time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Continue to show love. First of all, to yourself. You know what I mean? Love yourself. Yeah. And for us, it's definitely important to honor God, man, and acknowledge God in all your ways. Pray and ask God for guidance. If you don't know which way to go, ask God for guidance. Like, that's something that we don't neglect to do. It's important for us to do those things. We don't neglect to do that. Yeah. So it's not lost on us that we still are seeking after the wisdom of God. Yeah. We talk to each other. We pray. And we do expect God to respond to us. Yeah. So we are very, very blessed to be talking to you and sharing with you right now. We're blessed to even hear some of the things that you all have had to say, because a lot of our stories are intertwined. Like, you see how much we have in common, right? Yeah. Hearing from each other. So we're glad that this community has become a safe space, for you all to feel like you can be comfortable and just share, because you don't have to. We know that, right? We know that. But we always want you to know that when you are talking to and listening to the bosses, that you are going to get raw, real, transparent, and relevant topics, because we're only talking about things that we feel comfortable with. So we're not holding back. We're not making anything up. And we want you to feel like you are getting to know us a little bit, at a time, organically. So if you watch tonight on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you will feel compelled to leave a comment, subscribe if you have not done so already. If you have, thank you. We appreciate it. We've seen our numbers go up over time, and you are telling YouTube that Talking with the Bostons is not trash, essentially. Right. So thank you. Also, if you're watching from Facebook, whether it's our personal pages or from the Talking with the Bostons Facebook group, we appreciate you as well. Yes. As you can see, that community is also growing. We want it to continue to be a safe space. Right now, we have not had anything but positivity.
squeaking and cracking
Yeah,
out.
no, you're good.
Anything but positivity on this page. And
Yeah.
we are having such a good time just fellowshipping with y'all. We started an hour late today. Excuse us, the Cowboys was playing, so it is what it is. But we will see you all again next Sunday. If you have more comments or things that you didn't say or weren't comfortable saying, you are welcome to DM us.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Continue to pray for each other. Pray for us. We're praying for you.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to the next conversation. This was episode 10 of Talking with the Bosses. And so we have our next series lined up on deck and ready for you all. So we know that there are topics that we're excited to talk about. We hope that you're excited and that you enjoy them as well. So keep letting us know your thoughts on them. We're still checking the poll. So if you've not voted on the poll in the Facebook group and you want to, you can still do that. YouTube, we don't have a poll for you, but if you want to slide on over to Facebook and ask to join our Talking with the Boston's Facebook group, you are more than welcome to do that. We would love to have you.
Sure.
Welcome to the community. But until next time.
Love y'all. And let's stay engaged. Yeah, let's do that. Let's keep engaged.
We do love you.
Yeah, we do.
Y'all are awesome. Thank you for letting us be ourselves. Y'all know we crazy. But we do love you though. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.
Bye guys.